boots on ground. But when you consider the flim-flam and the needless controversies over recruitment of the annual 10,000 between whoever has been chairman of the Police Service Commission and the Police High Command, you begin to wonder, what kind of people are this? You say your number is few. You have been encouraged to recruit. Now the whole recruitment process dissolves into a needless war, but we're making progress. We'll get there.
Right. So if you bear that in mind, you'd ask yourself, at the time the federal structure was determined, certainly, obviously, there must have been advantages that were considered, and saying perhaps that was the best thing to do, given Nigeria's position at that time. So what was so beneficial about a system like this that it became the norm? Of having a federal controlled police?
Well, that was what, I mean, this started from colonial times.
Yes, but then we gained independence.
Yes,
and then
I will continue with it,
right,
with the multiplicity of forces. Mm-hmm. And let's get it right. While the dual policing arrangement lasted, the northern region of Nigeria, but especially the Emirate North, was arguably the safest part of the country to live in. And for one thing, there was a very thin presence of the MPF in the northwest in particular, much of the Muslim part of northern Nigeria, because the subscription to the any police idea was very thick, especially after 1928, when children of the nobility were encouraged to seek service in the Native Authority police forces. That was a boost, because whether in the western region or the northern region, in all places where there had been centralized state systems before colonial rule, in the palaces of kings, there were people doing the work of police, but largely drawn from the class of slaves. But colonial rule changed the whole thing when the British appropriated the some of the pre-colonial institutions they met that they consider functioning, including policing. And that's why the first chapter of my book talks about from palace officials to stipendiary officers of state. And if I may just digress a little now, but with relevance, as we are looking at state police being recreated, we may have to contend with the fact that for those who had made the move, states with Amotekun, whatever label, they may have to tread very carefully, and in the matter of recruitment, allow that those whom they have initially recruited be allowed to join the new state police forces.
No, that's now that you mentioned this, it's one area that had always featured in the argument for and against state police. And those who say what you have is a form of state-controlled law enforcement when various regions established certain agencies to maintain law and order. Isn't that state policing to some extent?
Well, the difference is this. We are now looking at a more refined arrangement and giving it the proper label. These very funny titles, Amotekun, Agbamure, as I like to add, Bubegu and whatever, call it what it should be: state police, Osun State Police, Ondo State Police, Abia State Police. Let the label be clear. One advantage that we will have is that there will be a reduction in the non-state actors that have proliferated over the years and doing the job of police, and some even contending space and influence with the police with dire consequences in some regard. Now, having state police is not a problem. And to be fair to some of the state governors, the quantum of support that have been given to the Nigerian police force over the years is quite enormous. That if they pull those things together and focus on